guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate all of you guys so very much for being here today. Today I am doing my next update in my Project Pan series. I believe the last update I did was the end of August, and it's been a couple months, and you know, here's the thing. Like, I don't feel like I can update you every single month because I don't go through the items in this project pan currently that quickly. The reason why is because I had things like a full-size MAC blush. I have full-size shadows, blushes, and highlights. I have a lot of full-size items in here that I am trying to pan right now. And at the beginning, I think I had more smaller items or items that were already pretty panned. So these days my updates are few and far between because there's just not a whole lot of progress, but I have some serious progress, so I thought I would come to you, share what I have, and dig into a new item because we'll be rolling in a new item today. So let's start with these guys. These are pretty. You guys are probably getting pretty tired of seeing these, but these are the single items that I did pick out for my project pan this year, and they are 3 Colourpop shadows, a Ofra blush, and an Ofra highlight. The 3 Colourpop shadows, I have done some immense damage to these two right here. I've really done a great job of making sure that they are getting some pan in them that they maybe didn't have before. The one over here, this pan honestly hasn't grown much, and you'll see that from the pictures that I put into this video showing what it was before and what it is now. But these two here did not have any pan in them, and they did have like really decent sized dips in them, but they didn't have any pan in them. My idea rolling them in was to put pan in these two and to finish this one off because it already did have pan in it. Well, as you guys can see, I haven't really gone anywhere with this shadow. It will probably go in the trash can when we are done this year because I also cannot find anything within my being that wants to use them or use it, and I'm just not going to use it if I don't want to. There are, you know, moments in time where I do use it, so it will remain in my project pan, but it just isn't seeing the action that I thought it was going to see. These two here have increased significantly in their pan size. First and foremost, they didn't have any pan. This one I have been using also as a face highlight. It is the Colourpop shadow in Ringer, and it is a beautiful shadow, but also a beautiful face highlight. So I've been double duty beauty in that one. It has seen better days, obviously, in the pan, and that has grown exponentially. And then this one over here did have quite a bit of a dip in it. It is a shadow that I used to set my eye base with all the time, but I've gotten into the habit of not setting my eye bases. So I don't find myself using it that much anymore, but I did give it some pan, which was initially what I wanted to do with this shadow. By the end of the year, I hit pan in this quite early on in this little adventure, and then just elected to keep both of them into the project till the end of the year. I'm going to use as much of them as I can through the end of the year, and then at the end of the year, at the end of this project, they will actually go in the trash can because these are some of the oldest shadows in my collection. And the next two are these guys here, and they are an Ofra bronzer and an Ofra highlight. The highlight is in Rodeo Drive. The blush is in Winter Rose, and this is what they look like. You guys, it takes 10,000 years to pan a blush. I'm just saying. This blush looks as if I have never used it, but I have. I do. I use it all the time. But you guys can see via the picture that I'm going to put in here of it at its beginning stages and it now. I mean, it does have a little bit of a dip in it, but not much. This highlight, I think, is quite possibly the first highlight that I've panned ever besides a Winky Lux Balm highlight. And I cannot be more stoked. Last time we updated this, it had the littlest, tiniest sliver of pan in it, so much so that I was like, I'm gonna keep it in because you can't even see that pan. And you now can see the pan. And the greatest thing about it is it kind of looks like a heart. Can you guys see that? It looks like a heart. I'm so excited about that. Here's the thing. I have this highlight also in a face palette by Ofra. So I am going to keep this highlight in this project because I do want to finish as much of it as I possibly can by the end of the year. I will probably also toss this highlight in the trash at the end of the year, maybe, because I do have it also in a palette. These guys I don't weigh because they always weigh in. The eyeshadows always weigh in at 0.1 ounce, and these two guys always weigh in at 0.2 ounces or 0.3 ounces. So I don't weigh them also because you can see the progress in them. So I'm really excited about the progress in them. I am also like totally okay with not seeing a whole lot more progress in them because I do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of these single shadows before they end up in my trash can. But I do know that I will continue to use this one throughout the end of the year. The other two, maybe, maybe not. This is the Hourglass Diffused Light. It is a kind of like a setting powder. I did put this into my project right after my Charlotte Tilbury powder was gone because I wanted to get some use out of it. It's not necessarily the oldest thing in my collection, but I also hadn't used it very much when I first rolled it in. It did weigh in at 0.9 ounces at the beginning when we rolled this in. It weighed at 0.9 ounces in the last update that I weighed it, and this time it also weighs at 0.9 ounces. But I'm hoping that just by looking at it, you guys can see the little divots of use in there. There isn't a dip in it at all, but there is quite a bit of usage. But I do use it quite often, so it is getting a fair amount of use. We all know that sometimes the components are making up a great deal of the amount of weight that our scales weigh them on. So I'm anxious to see some kind of progress other than just the smears of a brush that you can see in the usage. The next thing I have is this. It is the Sol de Janeiro hand cream, and you guys, I have used so much of this. So you guys can see the marks over here on this side from the first and second update with this project in it, and this one down here is where we're sitting at right now. You guys can see I can bend it fully over. It did weigh in at 2.1 ounces when we began. At the last update it weighed in at 2.0 ounces, so I had not used very much of it. A friend of mine, I think it was Caitlin, told me to put it by my bedside, and I started to see some use then, which is how I got to 2.0 ounces versus the 2.1 ounces. Then I had some kind of epiphany to put it next to my workstation at home because that's where I sit 90% of the time when I am here, and I started using it, and now I am down to here and it has 1.1 ounces left, and I really do feel like by the end of November this will be gone. So I'm really excited about it. The packaging is kind of a metal tube, so it isn't liking the fact that I am bending it like this and it's starting to seep out the sides, which is kind of gross, but it's almost gone. So I'm excited about the usage of that. The next thing I have here is the Smashbox Contour that I took off of a foundation stick actually and put it into this IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye corrector thing. I use my products until they can't be used anymore, honestly, as down to the containers that things are in. You'll see that in another one of these. This came in at 0.7 ounces when I first rolled it in. It comes in at 0.7 ounces still. I do know that there's some usage though. I'm hoping that with the pictures you guys will also be able to see the usage. The great thing about this is that I can just like dip my brush into it, get a little bit on my brush, put it on my face. I don't have to touch it. I get just the perfect amount versus like taking a stick and putting it on and thinking that this is a rather soft contour, if I'm honest. It is a contour that I really, really like actually. I hated the foundation on the other side of this stick. Hated it so much. It moved around so much, but this contour is actually pretty perfect. It's a beautiful contour. It is a little more warm. It's on the warm side, but it's not a bad contour. So I have no doubt in my mind that I can have this, if not empty, it will be next to empty by the end of the year. So I'm really happy to continue to use it and keep it in my collection. The next thing I have on here is this Coolest spray. So you guys know that when I rolled this in, I actually had two Coolest sprays that I was rolling in as one in this project pan, because I found after rolling in the first Coolest spray that I had a second one and I hated it. I hated the Coolest spray. The biggest reason why I hate this makeup setting spray is because it stings my eyes. There's so much like alcohol or SPF or something in this that just doesn't help my eyes. Also, this is incredibly sticky. Like when you spray it on, it gets, of course, everywhere. And for hours later, I can feel it on my shirt if I'm wearing a shirt when I apply my makeup, which is typically every day because I put on my makeup in a fishbowl here. I'm in a room surrounded by windows, no drapes, no nothing. I think if I put on my makeup naked, people would look at me funny. There's that. But I can feel this spray on my clothing until I take it off. I just don't like it. I did want both of them out of my collection. I didn't purchase either one of these. I did get both of them in subscription boxes. I think I got one in a BoxyCharm and one in a FabFitFun. So I was happy when I emptied this one. Yes! And if you watch my empties, this is a spoiler, or that was a spoiler to this. I did empty this one. It does have 2 metal balls in there just to remind you to mix stuff up. And on this one, I only have that little bit of liquid left in here. It does weigh in at 4.1 ounces. The last time we weighed this one before it was empty, it was at 4.5. So I have high hopes that I can be done with this Coola makeup setting spray by the end of this month and definitely be able to roll in another item in the next update. The next thing I have in here is this. It is in a Glossier moisturizer dude, but this is the foundation mix that I rolled into this project pan. My holy grail foundation mix is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation and the Becca Skin Love, which is a little more illuminating and dewy. So the Comfort Matte Foundation is amazing. I love the way my skin looks on it, but it is a wee bit matte. I'm a very dry girl, so I did start mixing it with the Becca Skin Love because A, I got the wrong shade initially, but B, it is also illuminating, right? It was my first time trying a kind of more dewy foundation. I don't want to go ham with it, so I started mixing it with my favorite matte foundation. I found that I loved mixing the two together, so that's just always what I continue to do. At the end of both of those tubes, though, because they're tubes with a pump, sometimes you can't get all the remnants of the foundation out, so I always cut the end of the tubes off and dig out the rest because you have so much left when the pump stopped working. I did mix them and put them into this Glossier container, and this weighed in when I first filled it at 1.8 ounces, and it's currently at 1.4, but it was also to the rim full. And now it is definitely not to the rim. You guys can see it's about to, I would say a little less than this lip here, just maybe to the top of the words on the Glossier container. So I am really excited that these are almost done. I have no doubt in my mind I'll finish them by the end of the month, probably be rolling in 2, maybe even 3 products in the next update, or maybe it'll take me until the end of the year. I'm not sure, but I won't be repurchasing those right now because I do have about 900 foundations that I need to go through before I'm going to be in the market to purchase another one. That is what I'm telling myself. That is what I'm telling you. The last item I have as part of my project pan right now was this full-size MAC Stereo Rose Mineral Skin Finish. This is a product that came into my life right after I started getting into makeup. I did purchase a couple of mystery boxes off of eBay, which weren't necessarily amazing, but this is a product that came out of that was amazing, that I loved absolutely until the very end. At the very end of its usage, so over the last like 6-8 months, I've really found that it emphasizes texture a lot on my skin, and I can't figure out why. I don't know if it's because it's an older product or if it's just because, you know, I'm old AF and I have textured skin and it doesn't sit well on textured skin. But this was my favorite blush for the longest time. So you guys can see a picture of what it looked like when I rolled it into this project pan, as well as what it looked like on its last update. And this is what it looks like now. It is empty, folks. It is empty. I am so excited. I mean, I'm excited, but not excited. This was my favorite blush for the longest time. It was such a beautiful marbled blush. So sometimes it was super pink, sometimes it was super coral, and it had this really nice like shimmeriness to it. So I didn't find the need to wear a highlight with it because it functioned as both. Maybe that's why it showed texture, because it was just so pretty. I just kept packing it on. But this is a product that was a baked product, so it was domed. Those are so hard to go through. Also, this is a full-size pan. It is huge. It is, I can't read it because I am damn blind, but you guys can see how big this pan is. I mean, next to my hand, it's almost the same size as the palm of my hand. Huge pan of blush, and I did finish it. It did take me 3 years of it being in my collection to pan it, though. Not to pan it, to empty it. So with that being said, this blush here that's been in my collection for about a year and only been in a project for a year, we know that there's no way that this blush is even going to have pan in it by the end of the year. But that's okay. It's a newer blush in my collection, so I'll just roll it into my next project pan because I do have 2 of them, which is why it landed in my project pan to begin with. So with that being said, I am rolling in another product, and that product is this. It is my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. This is the eyeshadow base that I use almost daily. You guys can see it does already have pan in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rolled it in here because these last forever, you guys. But I have so many eye bases that I want this one to be the one that I use every single time I am using an eye base from now until the end of the year so that I can finish this up. This is the second one of these soft ochre paint pots that I have purchased and used up, and will be the second one that I have emptied. I know I have plenty of items for MAC Take Back, which is exciting to me because after this, I will have a free MAC lipstick in my basket or in my collection, which there is a couple that I've had my eye on for sure. This weighs in at 1.4 ounces, as you guys can see in the picture, and I believe that a good portion of that is the weight of this container. This container is glass, so I don't think that there's 1.4 ounces worth of product left in here. Honestly, I have no doubt in my mind that I will be able to finish it up because I've already finished one of these up in the past. I think the next paint pot that I purchase, though, I am probably going to buy Painterly. What I am finding is that this one suits my skin very well, but because it is a little more yellow in tone, it also creates a different outcome to some of the shadows that I put over the top of it. So I think I might get both soft ochre and Painterly and mix them. I do know a couple of creators that I watch that do that, so I might do that as well. The Painterly one is a little more pink toned than the soft ochre, which is definitely more yellow toned, and I do have kind of like a yellow golden almost olive complexion, so it does suit my skin tone. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I don't necessarily like that I'm putting certain colors on top of it though, and it kind of creates a different outcome than I like. Not that I hate it, because I definitely don't hate it. So anyways, that is the last little tidbits of my Project Pan 2020 update for this month, and it is only the 8th update this year because, as I said in the beginning, I have a problem coming to you guys and giving you an update when there's not much progress to be had. So there's that. We saw me get rid of one item, roll in another item, and the next update, I'm hoping that these 3 items will be taken care of and I can roll in maybe 3 new items. It might be at that time frame though that I don't roll in any other items and prepare myself for my Project Pan 2021. Can you believe that we're saying that already? That is so crazy to me, but at the same time, I am so ecstatic that this year is almost over. I don't know, there's something inside of me that says 2021 is coming and all this will be over and done with. I know that's not true logically, but some part of my brain is like, come on, 2021. Whatever. Whatever. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you did, you're giving it a big thumbs up. It really is an amazing thing to do for us content creators out here. It tells YouTube that there are people out here liking and watching our videos, and it's totally free to do. I also hope that you liked it or me enough that you're considering subscribing to my channel, because it also is totally free to do. And if you liked me even a hint of like, you will love some of the other content that I'm pushing out 3 to 4 times a week. So please be sure to hit that notification bell as well, because it's going to assure you don't miss a thing. And I would hate for you to miss a thing. Please let me know if you have a project pan that you're rolling through this year. What's your favorite kind of project pan? Is it this kind that I'm doing with a rolling project pan and rolling in new items every single time? Or is it like a full face rolling project pan where, like, when you finish a blush, you roll in another blush? Or is it one that you're just picking the amount of items that you're working through, and those are the items that you're working through for the year? I have done that a couple times. I didn't see as much success with that as I'm seeing this year. So I have no doubt in my mind that I will probably do another rolling project pan next year. Having so much fun with this project pan. I have finished up